trying to do the same thing. So you've got a recipe for turmoil here around the world that is not going to make the markets anywhere happy.
It really is stunning because leading up to the vote, it was neck and neck, we kept hearing, but yesterday they were saying, yeah, but it looks like they're going to pull it out, that it'll be okay.
Well, I was watching the returns last night at about 11 o'clock Eastern time here, which was 3 in the morning in Britain, and it was literally, there were 1,000 votes separating the two sides. It was 50.1 to 49.9%, and then things started to turn. But I think the reality is, as much as this was on the table, nobody really expected this was going to happen.
And the interesting thing, it is both economics and politics.
Yes, because the implications here, as we talked about on CBS this morning, the grievance list for the voters who voted to leave is the same virtually as you're hearing here for many people supporting Trump and some supporting Bernie Sanders. It's that economically they feel like they've been left behind, and secondarily that they're scared about immigration. Those were the two powerful forces that the Leave campaign played into.
And they feel like it's unfair that banks did well and they didn't.
Yes, and they have a legitimate grievance, and which is what Bernie Sanders said on the show this morning, and what voters again and again have been telling people around the world.
Yeah, and they're even speaking some of the same languages, that we're taking our country back. I saw one British voter today who was cheering, "We are taking our country back."
So we're looking at down about 2.5% right now, which is, which relative to what's happening in Europe seems kind of small, but that's almost 500 points. That's a big number.
But as you mentioned, Anthony, it's interesting is, not just some of the things you're hearing in the U.S., but also the other countries in Europe, now Netherlands, France, the anti-EU sentiment. Interesting to see how significant that cleavage is as we move forward here.
Well, you've got a real question now in France and Netherlands, and also in Britain. This is going to embolden the UK Independence Party, which David Cameron called this referendum to try to marginalize the nationalist movement in the UK Independence Party. He made a big bet. He's lost it big. So now that party is going to be emboldened within Britain, which will embolden nationalist parties in France and beyond. So what does that mean for Europe? And every European government this morning has to be asking ourselves, could we, if this referendum happens here, could we lose it? Could we lose it?
They say it will be at least 2 years before we really see anything. Were you surprised that he stepped down so quickly?
Well, he had to. He put this on the table, and he got clearly beaten.
Yeah,
everybody said he could not survive. He couldn't survive. I mean, I think that was inevitable, and I think if he'd stayed, it would have just caused even greater concern and chaos because most people knew he'd have to go.
And as Charlie rightly pointed out earlier, he may very well be replaced by another conservative.
Correct.
But Boris Johnson, two guys who found themselves diametrically opposed.
His party was split.
His party was split, and that was